In our headlines this morning, Governor Obiano asked federal government to compensate Koschad Farm, Anako, for loss suffered in flood disaster. More opposition party members defect to APGA ahead of coming general elections. African Union calls for peace conference on Libya conflict. On the foreign scene, UN re-elects Nigeria as peacekeeping committee chair. Good morning and welcome to the news. My name is Nonye Mokoye. Governor Willie Obiano has called on the federal government to compensate Koschad Farm for the loss it suffered as a result of the recent flood disaster that ravaged some states of the Federation. Governor Obiano made the call at Anako in Ayamelum Council area during an inspection visit to the farm. Government House correspondent Ejike Abana reports.
Governor Obiano recalled that the farm ran into a loss of over 2.5 billion naira, stressing that the farm lays credence to the state government efforts to promote commercial rice farming in the state. The governor said that if they commence dry season farming as he was briefed, they will have production capacity of about 35,000 metric tons of rice and 50 to 60,000 metric tons per annum, saying that few farms have the opportunity to be sited close to the river.
I would like the federal government to compensate this big farm for the huge loss suffered during the flood. If you look at the area picture during that period, you see that every place here was under, except this pumping area, was submerged. So I'm very happy to learn that they will be commencing dry season farming. I think they will harvest in 4 months' time.
The governor later took time to inspect an irrigation system created by the company from the Anambra River to aid its dry season farming. According to the farm manager, Mr. Bharat Dare, dry season farming is expected to take off in a week's time, explaining that rice harvest will commence in 4 months' time.
This pump station can irrigate 2,500 acres for the year. For 2,500 acres, it can irrigate. Each pump has got capacity of 1.25 cubic meter per second. And this is a world-class pump station.
Koschad Farm is one of the major stakeholders in rice farming and production in the state. Recall that during the recent flood disaster in the country, the length and breadth of Koschad Farm was submerged in flood water, which incurred loss of over 2.5 billion naira. From Koschad Farm, Anako, Ejike Abana, ABS News.
2 containers containing configured card readers and other sensitive materials for Saturday 16th general elections have been gutted by fire at the State Office of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Anambra State. We have details of the report.
The fire, which source is yet to be identified, started at 14 minutes past 2 in the afternoon, raising the entire containers before the arrival of personnel of Anambra State Fire Service. An eyewitness who did not want to be mentioned was at the office for collection of his postal letter, said the fire started at a portion and was put off, only to start again and escalate to other places. Confirming the story, the resident electoral commissioner in the state, Dr. Chukwuemeka, said only smart card readers and other sensitive materials were in the burnt containers, which according to him had been in use by INEC since 2011. On whether the fire incident would prevent election in the state, Dr. Oji said they will first study the situation and come up with a report in due course. Many of the ad hoc staff of the commission were in INEC office to collect their postal letters during the incident.
As the general elections remain few days to commence, the All Progressives Grand Alliance APGA has continued to gain momentum as members of other political parties in the state defect to the party following its commitment to good governance. This was witnessed at Akweze, Obeledu, and Agolo communities in Anocha local government area when the state deputy governor, Dr. Nkem Okeke, accompanied Senator Victor Omei to the areas for campaign rally where over 27 members of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, defected to APGA in their pledge to ensure the re-election of the senator representing Anambra Central Senatorial District at the National Assembly and other APGA candidates. Our correspondent Emmanuel Okonkwo tells us more.
Addressing the people, Deputy Governor Kekeku described the All Progressives Grand Alliance APGA as an Igbo party which does not segregate but fights for the good of all, assured that the party will not disappoint them if given support. In his speech, Senator Ume commended the people for having faith in APGA and assured that the party will continue to be people-oriented and initiate more infrastructural projects in all parts of the state.
Constituency project construction of pavilion at the Community Cultural Center. I'm on the location. On that in a budget, I got 15 million naira. Any scholarship to more than 70, 10 per local government to university level from first year to final year.
In their remarks, some leaders of thought in the areas, including Chief Dan Obuefi and Engineer Emeka Ejiofo, said APGA is there to the people as they have benefited much from the party, promising to vote massively for its candidates. The traditional ruler of Akweza community, Igwe Christopher Okpala, described Senator Ume as a senator with a difference and prayed for his victory in Saturday's election. The senator also during the visit paid homage to the traditional ruler of Agulu community, Igwe Innocent Obodako, in company of the Deputy Governor, Dr. Nkemo Okeke. From Agulu in Anocha Council area, I am Emmanuel Okonkwo, reporting for ABS News.
As this year's election draws closer, Akweze and Obeledu communities in Anocha local government area have resolved to vote the All Progressives Grand Alliance APGA candidates. They made their stand when the member representing Anocha, Njikoka and Dunukofia at the National Assembly, Chief Dozie Nwankwo, visited the area in continuation of his re-election campaign rally. Correspondent Emmanuel Chibata has details.
Speaking at the campaign ground, Chief Dozie Nwankwo expressed satisfaction on the turnout of supporters, including party officers, youths and stakeholders, and assured that his constituents will be well represented. The legislator said that he has maintained transparency and accountable in his representation, but will do more if re-elected, urging them to vote him. Nkwado na akwado anyị ncha niile ọmalike ogbefinuke ifuna mụwa anyị ga na-arụ ọrụ n'ụsị anyị na-arụ ụnụ na-eme iwu ka dị mma for ndị Igbo. In his speech, the President General of Akweze, Dr. Ignatius Madoka, the former Vice Chancellor of Nnamdi Azikiwe University Awka, Professor Peter Ejiofor, and an APGA BOT member, Dr. Ifenyinwa Obegolo, said that Chief Nwankwo has lived up to the expectations of his constituents and pledged their total support in making sure that APGA won landslide victory in all the elections.
Ebe ni na kuzi ebe na arugo niile na agwa ndị Igbo si ya asị na Igbo nwere eze ma Igbo nwere eze a bụ na recognize ọ dịka asị na amaro APGA bụ pati ndị Igbo dọrọ anyị anya ebe a ga-atụ Igbo ebe a ka ihe ebinye aka ọgụgụ kọlọkụ obodo na APGA mgbasa a ga-atụ vote ebe ka a ga-ebinye aka unu ejikwa n'aka nke izizi a na ọ na-ebitọka akwụkwọ unu ruo unu enwere aka nke a ma nke
From Obeledu in Anosha local government area, Emmanuel Shibata, ABS News.
Away now from electioneering campaign, a subcommittee of the newly inaugurated Presidential Advisory Committee (PAC) on the elimination of drug abuse in Nigeria has visited Anambra State to discuss with concerned stakeholders the most effective methods towards curbing the scourge of drug abuse. The 6-member subcommittee, which oversees the Southeast Zone, is headed by the wife of the governor of Imo State, Mrs. Nkechi Okorocha. Correspondent Daniel Ezigwe now reports.
Present at the meeting, which was held at the Anambra State Government House, Oka, were representatives of the Nigeria Prison Service, Nigerian Immigration Service, Federal Road Safety Corps, National Security and Civil Defense Corps, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Anambra State Universal Basic Education Board, and Post-Primary School Service Commission, among others. Addressing the gathering, the team leader, Mrs. Okorocha, who was represented by Hajia Wasilat Audu, said the subcommittee was in Anambra State to gather information and develop an appropriate model for eliminating drug abuse, especially at the grassroots. Mrs. Okorocha, who called for strict internal controls among drug manufacturers, noted that the challenge of drug abuse must be tackled collectively, thus the need for the message to be taken to all community levels.
If there are no synergy between agencies, that is when you have loopholes. That is when you have these criminals coming in to penetrate. But once there is synergy, there's no loopholes for them. So we should not even allow that. The fact that you work in prison does not mean that you say anything wrong in any other agency, you will not say it.
Earlier, the State Commandant of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Mr. Sule Momodu, said the agency has had great strides with Governor Willie Obiano in eliminating illicit drug peddling in Anambra State, and restated the agency's resolve in championing the crusade.
We have mounted campaign, but the people have just refused to accept us. And I have also thrown challenge to people to say, if you have ever given information to us and the person came back to you, come and tell me who that person is. Because there's confidentiality in our information management.
The Permanent Secretary, Office of the Secretary of the State Government, Pharmacist Iman Ude Abe, said the issue of drug abuse must be taken seriously and advocated a change of approach towards its elimination.
Young people right from the primary school, then some persons who, for one reason or the other, find it difficult to probably secure the employment, think the only way out is to probably go to drugs. When the effect of the drug wears out, the problem remains there. So there are better ways. And one key way I believe we all must do about this is enlightenment. From the home, communities, in our professions, everybody must be involved.
The participating stakeholders also made contributions to this discussion, providing insights into their fight against the scourge and asked questions where necessary. The Presidential Advisory Committee on the Elimination of Drug Abuse was set up in October 2018 with various subcommittees for each of the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. The subcommittees work on the fields, collect results, and report to the National Committee. In Oka, Daniel Ezigwe, ABS News.
You're watching ABS News at 7 this morning. Still to come after the break, African Union calls for peace conference on Libya conflict. On the foreign scene, UN re-elects Nigeria's peacekeeping committee chair. There's and more stories after now. Please join us again.
It has come to the knowledge of the Anambra State government that a fast-growing number of political parties and their candidates participating in the 2019 general election boldly claim that Governor Willie Obiano has endorsed them. To make the claim look authentic, many have published in their campaign posters, flyers and banners their pictures with Governor Obiano. Many of the photographs were taken with the governor at public functions, churches, etc., often without the governor knowing about them. Some of these parties and their candidates pledged to Ndi Anambra that once they win, they will publicly declare support for Governor Obiano and join or rejoin the All Progressives Grand Alliance (APGA) as the case may be. Some of the candidates have even forged statements purportedly made by the Anambra State Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Mr. C. Dawn Adenoba, supporting their candidatures. The statements often appear in poorly written English. The Anambra State government wishes to state categorically that the claims by the parties and politicians are false, misleading, and disingenuous. Governor Obiano endorses only APGA candidates in the forthcoming election. As the APGA national leader and chairman of the APGA Board of Trustees, he cannot endorse candidates contesting on the platforms of other political parties. All in the Anambra should, therefore, disregard the claim by the politicians that Chief Obiano has endorsed them when they are not APGA candidates. These politicians want to use Chief Obiano's immense popularity to hoodwink Anambra State voters and make them vote for candidates other than those of APGA. Though the overwhelming majority of our people are too discerning and sophisticated to fall prey to this trick, it is important to bring to the fore the grand design by people seeking public office by all means to cajole in the Anambra. This trick is nothing less than 419 because the perpetrators want to obtain power through false pretense. For the upfront time, the good people of Anambra State are encouraged to vote only APGA so that the ongoing excellent work in various facets of our existence will continue. Anambra State has now become about the most competitive state in Nigeria and the most peaceful and stable in the country. The Anambra will not tolerate anything which can disrupt the present development trajectory. God bless Anambra State, the light of the nation. Announcer Mr. C. Dawn Adenoba, Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment.
Still there, welcome back to the news. The permanent representative of Nigeria to the United Nations, Professor Tijani Muhammad Bande, has been re-elected chair of the United Nations Special Committee on Peacekeeping, known as C34. Muhammad Bande was re-elected by acclamation at the United Nations headquarters in New York during opening of the 2019 session. Canada was also re-elected as vice chair, while Argentina, Poland, Japan, and Egypt were elected as bureau members. Muhammad Bande's re-election in absentia was a demonstration of the confidence reposed by the UN on Nigeria regarding the envoy's ability, personality, and charisma within the diplomatic community. His re-election also reinforced Nigeria's standing with the Committee of Nations in the realm of peacekeeping and contribution to international peace and security. The African Union, AU, has proposed a global conference in July to try to resolve the conflict in Libya with the aim of holding elections in October. A statement today said the 55-member body would like to hold an international conference on reconciliation in Libya under the auspices of the AU and UN during the first half of July. The declaration also requested the AU Commission, alongside the United Nations and the Libyan government, take all the necessary measures for the organization of presidential and legislative elections in October 2019. The North African country has been torn apart by power struggles and undermined by chronic insecurity since the NATO-backed ousting of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. The country has at least two rival administrations. One, recognized by the UN, is based in the capital, Tripoli, while the other has made its headquarters in the eastern city of Tobruk. The remains of the late Chief Alex Kandi Emenora have been laid to rest at his compound in Owerri, Anambra East local government area. Until his demise at the age of 58, Chief Alex Kandi was a retired head of department, environmental health, and head of administration, Ihiala local government area. Correspondent Ogochukwu Okeke reports.
In a sermon, the parish priest of St. Anthony of Padua Catholic Church, Owerri, Reverend Father Benedict Udogu, who described death as inevitable for all mortals, charged Christians to always live a good life worthy of emulation while on earth, advising the family of the deceased to take God as their refuge. The son of the deceased, Mr. Chikelo Banwasike, who described his father's death as a shock, prayed God to grant his soul eternal rest. The elder brother to the deceased, Chief Mike Okoye, described his late brother, who rendered selfless service to the people.
A perfect gentleman, a loyalist, and there's no description that will be enough for him.
Also speaking, Mr. Jude Okoye of the ABS and a cousin to the deceased said that late Chief Nwasike was a wise and kind man who had touched many lives. In his remarks, an in-law and younger brother to the wife of the deceased, Mr. Henley Wankwo, said that the late Chief Nwasike was a devout Christian, a motivator and counselor that gave hope to the hopeless. The state president, Environmental Health Officers Association of Nigeria, Anambra State Chapter, Mr. Moses Abadom, said that late Chief Nwasike was their colleague but just retired from service a year before his death, but thanked God for the life he lived.
He has played his part on earth, and we pray that all of us must go to the Almighty God. The question is, how have you performed on earth? That's the most important. For God will receive you when that person must have gone.
Condolences by in-laws, friends, and sympathizers featured at the ceremony. From Ugodi Owerri in Anambra East Council area, Ogochukwu Okeke reports in ABS News.
Such a painful death. We pray that God will be with the family at this trying period. And that's just about it on the news. But before we go, remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging on to our website, www.absradiotv.com. Like us at www.facebook.com/ABSRadioTelevision. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. And the main points of the news again, Governor Obiano has asked federal government to compensate Custard Farm, Anako, for loss suffered in flood disaster. The governor made the call when he visited the farm. More opposition party members have defected to APGA ahead of coming general elections. African Union has called for peace conference on Libya conflicts. And from the foreign scene, UN has re-elected Nigeria as peacekeeping committee chair. And that's the news. Thanking you so much for watching. I am Nonye Nwokoye. Good morning.